something huge is happening in the world of business. We're seeing this massive global shift in how we think about value. It's not just about the bottom line anymore, not by a long shot. Today, it's all about weaving together purpose, social impact, and, well, a legacy. So let's dive into what that actually looks like. And this quote it nails it. It's from Dr. Daniel C.F. Eng, and his goal is all about creating value that lives beyond us. Now, this isn't just some nice-sounding feel-good phrase. No, this is a whole new game plan for leadership. We're talking about building something designed to outlast the people who made it, their companies, even the ups and downs of the economy. Okay, so that's the big question, isn't it? What does this kind of value look like in the real world? How do you even begin to build it or measure it? And probably the most important question of all, how do you prove it's the real deal? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down. All right, let's stop talking in hypotheticals and look at a real-world example. We're going to zoom in on a fascinating case study from the Asia-Pacific. It's this entire ecosystem called SustNET, and it's designed to take that big abstract idea and make it concrete. It's all about shifting sustainability from being seen as just another cost on a spreadsheet to a cause that people can really get behind. So how does it work? At its heart is something they call the SustNET Engine, and it's this brilliant continuous cycle of impact. It's a really simple but powerful four-step loop. First, you equip people and businesses with the skills they need. Then, you measure what they're doing using technology to verify it all. Next, you celebrate their wins with awards and recognition. And finally, you empower them to lead within a network, which, you guessed it, starts that whole cycle all over again. Okay, so you've got to measure the impact, right? That's where the P5 framework comes in. And what's so interesting here is that it goes way beyond the usual ESG metrics you hear about. It gives you a much more holistic view, looking at everything across 5 key areas: the product itself, the people involved, the process, the impact on the planet, and of course, prosperity. It's about the whole picture. Now remember that celebrate step? It's really cool how they do it on 2 different scales. At the national level, in Malaysia, they have the MGSA awards. These are for the grassroots projects, the schools, the small businesses, the NGOs doing the work on the ground. But then they take it regional with the APSCA Awards. This is where they honor the big picture CEOs and leaders who are driving that change across the entire Asia-Pacific. But all of this, it brings us to the elephant in the room for this whole new way of thinking: trust. I mean, making a claim is easy. Anyone can say they're doing good. But proving it across a messy, complex global supply chain, that's a whole different ballgame. How do you actually know that good intentions are turning into real impact? And that really is the million-dollar question today, isn't it? We live in an age of greenwashing, where it's so easy for companies to make misleading claims. So how can anyone, consumers, investors, partners, really trust that what a company is saying is legit? Like Dr. Nag said, credible data is what defines trust these days. So what's the solution? Well, the architects of this whole ecosystem have an answer. They call it a digital trust backbone. And it's exactly what it sounds like: a tech framework built from the ground up to make every sustainable action totally transparent, trackable, and most importantly, verifiable. And this backbone has a name: SustNET. The easiest way to think about it is in 3 simple layers. First, you have the physical layer. Think IoT sensors on the ground, monitoring what's happening in real time. Next up is the verification layer. This is where blockchain comes in to take all that data and basically lock it into a secure, unchangeable record. And finally, you have the reporting layer, which uses that tamper-proof data to spit out reports that you can actually genuinely trust. This whole idea of building a system based on verifiable trust, it's not brand new. In fact, there's an incredibly powerful global industry that's been doing just that for centuries, all based on a deep ethical framework. So let's pivot for a second and look at a fascinating parallel model: the halal industry. And if you think this is some kind of niche market, think again. Just look at that number. The global halal industry is projected to be worth a staggering $7.7 trillion by 2025. It's grown way beyond its religious roots to become this universal symbol for ethical and trustworthy products for people all over the world. So, what's the secret sauce here? Well, it comes down to a core principle known as halalan tayyiban. Now, this means way more than just permissible. The key part is wholesome. It means a product isn't just allowed. It has to be pure, safe, high quality, and produced ethically from start to finish. It's a truly holistic view of value. And here's where it gets really interesting. This connection to our big theme of sustainability,
It's not just a hunch, it's not a coincidence. Researchers have actually shown that there's this deep, direct alignment between the core ethical principles of this framework and the UN's Sustainable Development Goals.
Just look at how neatly this all lines up. You take a principle like prohibiting exploitative interest. Boom! That directly supports the UN's goal for decent work and economic growth. Or the idea of acting in the public's best interest. That aligns perfectly with ending poverty. And that concept we just talked about, halal and tayyiban, it's a perfect match for responsible consumption. The point is, this is basically a time-tested blueprint for building an ethical, sustainable economy.
So let's bring it all together. What does this all mean for the future of business? We've just looked at two really powerful models. On one hand, you have a system built on cutting-edge technology. On the other, a framework built on deep-rooted ethics. They might seem like totally different paths, but you know what? They are both leading to the exact same destination.
All right, so here are the key things to take away from all this. First, the very definition of value is getting bigger. It's about purpose, not just profit. Second, trust is the new currency, and you have to earn it with data people can believe. Third, tech, like blockchain, gives us the tools to actually build that trust. And finally, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. These powerful ethical frameworks already give us a time-tested model for how to do it.
And that brings us right back to where we started, to that big idea of legacy. The ultimate goal really for any leader or any company is to create something that lasts. So the final question isn't for me to answer, it's for you to think about. Is your business, is the work you do, creating value that will live beyond you?